When Dorothy, age 74, stood in her living room surrounded by 4 decades of keepsakes, she had exactly 48 hours before the moving truck arrived. Her kids were scattered across the country, and she was utterly alone in a house packed tighter than a thrift store clearance aisle. What happened next shocked everyone, including Dorothy herself. Not only did she clear out an entire 3-bedroom house in just 2 days, but for the first time in years, she felt free. What was her secret? 7 downright ruthless tricks that fly in the face of every piece of decluttering advice you've ever heard. And here's the best part, any senior can do this, even if you're exhausted, overwhelmed, or staring at a mountain of stuff with no clue where to begin. I'm going to share with you the exact system Dorothy followed, because what she discovered completely flipped the script on how older adults tackle decluttering. See, Dorothy was never what you'd call tidy. Quite the opposite. After her husband passed away 2 years ago, their home slowly turned into a museum of memories, a place she couldn't bear to touch. Sound familiar? But here's what made Dorothy's story different. She didn't spend months agonizing over every knickknack the way most decluttering gurus tell you to. Instead, she used 7 backwards but brilliant strategies designed for seniors who are wrestling with a lifetime of belongings, limited energy, and a deep emotional bond with their things. By the end of this video, you'll have the exact roadmap Dorothy used. No fluff, no cliches, just the raw truth about what actually works when you need results fast. And here's the kicker, Dorothy taught me something I never expected. Have you ever felt completely overwhelmed just thinking about cleaning out your house? Drop a comment below and tell me, what's the biggest challenge you face when it comes to decluttering? I read every single one. And before we dive deeper, if this story resonates with you, give this video a like, share it with a friend who might need it, and don't forget to subscribe to Wise Elders Tales. Here, we share timeless lessons, uplifting stories, and powerful strategies to help you live lighter, stronger, and freer in your golden years. Because the truth is, sometimes, all it takes is one story to change the way you see your life. Tip number 1, the emergency room sort. Dorothy's first trick? She borrowed a page straight out of the emergency room playbook, the triage method. Doctors can't give every patient equal time, and guess what, neither can you with your belongings. This single shift saved her from the paralysis of analysis that had frozen her for 2 whole years. Here's how she did it, 3 ruthless piles, 15 minutes per room. Pile 1, can't live without. Medicines, legal papers, a comfort item or 2, and daily essentials. Like your favorite coffee mug, not the dusty fondue set. Pile 2, might need someday. Spoiler alert, this is where everyone gets stuck. Pile 3, haven't touched in a year. Gone. No mercy. Now here's the brutal twist, Pile 2 gets the same fate as Pile 3. Dorothy realized that someday was just fear talking, and fear was the reason she stayed buried in clutter. Better to risk losing a random salad spinner than stay chained to indecision. She started in the kitchen. In 15 minutes, she uncovered 23 coffee mugs, she only drinks tea now, 3 untouched china sets from her daughter's 1987 wedding, and enough utensils to run a diner. She kept 2 mugs, gifted the china, and tossed the gadgets, including the bread machine she used twice in 10 years. The real breakthrough? Discovering that just-in-case items weren't giving her safety. They were giving her anxiety. Every cleared room gave her more confidence. By room 3, she was practically excited to see what else she could dump. And the living room? Let's just say, 47 throw pillows for 6 chairs, 12 blankets in a house kept at 75 degrees, and enough candles to host Sunday Massachusetts. The kicker? She never lit a single one. So, what about you? What's hiding in your personal Sunday pile? Kitchen gadgets, clothes from decades past, or books you'll never read? Share it in the comments. Spotting your own weak spot is the first step to freedom. Tip number 2, the 10-minute sprint rule. Dorothy's second discovery is pure gold. Seniors don't have unlimited decision fuel. 10 minutes of emotional choices is all it takes before the brain taps out. After that, everything starts looking like a keep. Her solution? Set a timer for exactly 10 minutes. And here's the key, not for an entire room, but for one microzone, a single drawer, a single shelf, a single bathroom cabinet. When the buzzer rang, she stopped cold, even if she wasn't done. That one boundary rescued her from the endless cycle of exhaustion and guilt. Why? Because in 10 minutes you don't have time to overthink. Instinct takes over. And instincts know the truth, what you actually need versus what you're clinging to out of guilt or what if. Day 1, she tackled the top drawer of her nightstand. 10 minutes later she trashed expired pills from 1998, 17 broken pens, Christmas cards from people she couldn't even place, and enough spare buttons to start a tailor shop. All in a single trash bag. And because she stopped before burning out, she looked forward to the next session. One drawer, one shelf, one cabinet at a time. By day's end, she'd knocked out 24 10-minute sprints. That's 4 solid hours of progress without ever feeling crushed or drained. The genius? 10 minutes feels possible. No senior needs to sign up for an all-day marathon of misery. Just quick sprints. Tidy bursts. And each win fuels the next. Between rounds, she'd sip tea, watch morning TV, or rest. No stress. No decision fatigue. Just steady momentum that, shockingly, added up fast. Now be honest, are you the type who tries to conquer an entire room at once, only to throw in the towel? If so, Dorothys' timer trick might just save your sanity. Tell me in the comments, I promise, you're not the only one. Backhand index pointing right if this story made you laugh, or gave you a little push to finally tackle that drawer you've been avoiding. Hit like, share this video with a friend, and don't forget to subscribe to Wise Elders' Tales. Here, we turn real stories into timeless lessons, with just enough humor to make the heavy stuff feel a little lighter. Tip number 3, the stranger test. Dorothys' third weapon was both savage and brilliant. She imagined a total stranger going through her stuff after she passed away. Morbid? Nope. Genius. Her rule was simple. Would a stranger understand why I kept this, or would they think I was just hoarding? That shift cleared away years of guilt and nostalgia. A stranger wouldn't keep 200 faded crayon drawings from her kids' grade school days. So she picked 10 masterpieces that truly captured their spirit and let the rest go. Same with the photo albums. She had 23 of them, packed with blurry vacation shots, duplicates, and mystery faces. After the stranger test, she whittled it down to 3 slim albums that actually told her story. The rest? Out. And don't even get me started on the closet. Work suits from a job she left 15 years ago? Gone. If a stranger wouldn't save them, why should she? Instead, they went to young teachers who really needed them. Even her beloved book collection took a hit. Over 300 titles, many outdated or read once and never again. Romantic paperbacks, diet books from the 80s, and self-help guides long past their expiration date. A stranger wouldn't keep them, so why was she? She kept a few treasures and donated the rest. The stranger test cut through the emotional fog. Suddenly, Dorothy was keeping things for today, not for someday. So tell me, what's one thing you're clinging to that a stranger would shake their head at? Be honest in the comments, we've all been there. Tip number 4, the replacement reality check. Dorothy's fourth trick destroyed the scariest excuse of all, but what if I need it someday and can't replace it? Her cure? The replacement reality check, 3 ruthless questions. If I needed this tomorrow, could I realistically replace it? How much would it actually cost to replace? In the past 5 years, how many times have I truly needed it? Take her screwdriver stash, 12 screwdrivers scattered in random drawers. Replaceable? Yes, at any hardware store. Cost? Under $15. Actual use in 5 years? 0. She kept one good one, donated the rest. Or those bulky dining chairs in the basement. She hadn't hosted more than 4 guests in 8 years. If a big dinner ever happened, renting chairs would be cheaper than paying with years of wasted space. Then came the graveyard of appliances, a bread maker used twice in a decade, a juicer abandoned after her health kick in 2015. Replacement cost today? $20 to $30 tops. But the real cost was daily stress and clutter. Out they went. Here's the brutal truth Dorothy uncovered: keeping stuff just in case was actually more expensive than replacing the rare item down the road. Storage, stress, wasted time, it was costing her peace of mind. So, what's in your house that you could replace for under $20? Share it below. Let's all get a reality check together. Tip number 5, the energy scale. Dorothy's fifth trick was a lifesaver for her sanity. She stopped treating every single item like it carried equal weight. Because let's face it, our emotional batteries aren't infinite. She invented what she called the energy investment scale, ranked from 1 to 10. Level 1, zero emotional energy. Straight to the trash or donation bin, no guilt, no drama. Level 10, precious, irreplaceable, and carefully preserved in her new life. Everything else fell somewhere in between. Take her books, romance paperbacks she'd never reread. Level 1, donated without hesitation. Her late husband's old technical manuals? Level 3, she spent 30 seconds boxing them up for the kids. Grandma's handwritten recipe book? Level 9, lovingly cleaned, wrapped, and placed in her kitchen of honor. The closet test was brutal but freeing. Out of 67 pieces jammed inside, she only wore 12 on repeat. With her scale, most landed at level 1 to 3, off to donation. The handful of outfits that made her feel confident? Level 8 to 10, kept, hung neatly, and given space to shine. In under 45 minutes, the closet went from nightmare to peaceful. Her garage was even more ruthless: garden tools she couldn't use because of arthritis, camping gear for trips she'd never take, and sports equipment from hobbies long retired, all level 1 to 2, and gone. The funny thing? She realized the stuff she'd been draining the most emotional energy over was often the least important. By cutting those energy vampires, Dorothy suddenly had fuel left for friends, cooking experiments, and yes, even dipping a toe back into dating. Tip number 6, the future self-test. Dorothy's sixth trick shocked even her kids. She stopped asking, "Should I keep this?" and started asking, "Does this help me become the person I'm becoming, or does it chain me to the past?" This was a game changer. For decades, she'd been defined by her career as a powerful executive. Her closet full of sharp business suits? They represented years of achievement. But her future self wasn't running boardrooms anymore. She was rescuing animals, painting watercolors, and planning dream trips. So the suits went to young professionals who needed them. The bookshelves told the same story. Shelves of management and business guides once fueled her career. But her future was about travel, gardening, and photography. Keeping the old books wasn't honoring her past, it was blocking her next chapter. The craft room sealed the deal. Out went the dusty sewing machine and fabric stash. And came an easel, paints, and natural light. She wasn't losing her old hobbies, she was creating space for the passions of her retirement. The toughest moment came with her late husband's belongings. For years she'd held onto everything, thinking it honored him. But Dorothy realized that clinging wasn't love, it was paralysis. She kept a few pieces that truly carried joy, and donated the rest to families who would actually use them. She knew her husband would rather see her living fully than building a museum in his memory. Even her kitchen got an upgrade. Gone were the oversized pots and industrial gadgets from her entertaining days. Her future self just wanted a calm space for tea, light meals, and maybe a windowsill herb garden. And that's exactly what she built. The magic of this test? It gave her permission to evolve, to keep growing, to embrace freedom instead of being locked inside an old identity. Tip number 7, the 24-hour exit rule. Dorothy's final secret was the one that tied everything together, and it was the hardest to stick to at first. She called it the 24-hour exit rule. Here's how it worked. Once she made the decision to let something go, it had to leave her house within 24 hours. No holding zones, no just-in-case bins, no purgatory piles stacked in the garage. Out the door. Period. Why was this so powerful? Because Dorothy learned the hard way that clutter has one sneaky superpower. It creeps back in the moment you give it a chance. That box of "to donate later"? Suddenly it starts whispering, "Maybe you'll need me someday. Don't you remember how expensive I was? You might regret this." Before long, half the pile sneaks its way back into the closet. So she built a new law of the land. Every outgoing item got a one-way ticket: garbage, donation center, recycling bin, or the trunk of her car headed to her kids' houses. But never back inside. The first test, the kitchen counter. Her first 24-hour trial was brutal. She had filled 2 big boxes with mugs, duplicate gadgets, and half-dead appliances. Normally, she would have shoved those boxes into the garage until the weekend. But this time, she put them straight in the trunk of her Toyota and dropped them off at Goodwill that same afternoon. When she came back to her kitchen later that evening, the space felt like it had taken a deep breath. And here's the kicker, she couldn't even remember what she'd donated. The loss she had dreaded all morning already felt irrelevant by dinner. That's when she realized the 24-hour exit rule wasn't just about space. It was about silencing the mind games clutter loves to play. The science behind it. Psychologists call it decision fatigue. The more times you revisit a choice, the weaker your willpower gets. Dorothy had seen it firsthand. Leave the donation pile sitting in the hallway for a week, and suddenly half of it migrates back because you've second-guessed yourself into exhaustion. The 24-hour rule killed that cycle. By making decisions permanent fast, she gave her brain a clean break. One and done. The Garage Showdown. The real showdown came in the garage, where Dorothy had limbo boxes from as far back as the 1990s. Christmas decorations she never used, camping gear from trips she no longer took, mystery cords that matched devices long gone. This time, she grabbed a Sharpie, labeled boxes donation and trash, and gave herself exactly 24 hours to clear them. She called a local charity to schedule a pickup for the donations, and rolled the trash bins to the curb that same night. The next morning, when the truck pulled away, she stood in her garage for the first time in years and realized she could actually park her car inside again. The emotional surprise. What shocked her wasn't just the extra space. It was the weight lifted off her shoulders. For 2 years after her husband's passing, Dorothy's house had felt like a museum and a warehouse rolled into one. Every time she walked past those boxes, she felt a stab of guilt and stress. By enforcing a 24-hour deadline, she finally shut that chapter and gave herself permission to breathe. Real-world hacks that made it work. The donation bin in the car. Dorothy placed a sturdy box in the trunk of her car labeled donation. Anytime she cleared a drawer or shelf, the items went straight into that box. Once it was full, she drove it out that day. Simple, automatic, no pileups inside the house. Schedule pickups. She discovered that many charities offered free pickups for furniture and large donations. She booked pickups in advance so that once the deadline came, she had to load the items by the door for collection. Built-in accountability. Buddy system. For emotional items, Dorothy sometimes called her neighbor, Susan, to help load the car. Susan wasn't attached to the stuff and could play bouncer if Dorothy tried to sneak things back in. It turned decluttering into teamwork and even gave them some good laughs. No reverse gear. Once something crossed the threshold, onto the porch, into the car, or to the curb, it wasn't allowed back inside. She treated the door like a one-way gate. The ripple effect. The 24-hour exit rule didn't just empty Dorothy's house, it reshaped her daily habits. She stopped letting clutter linger. Junk mail? Gone in a day. Clothes that didn't fit? Donation bag within 24 hours. Kitchen gadgets she realized she never used? Into the trunk. Her house stayed lighter because she had trained herself not to postpone decisions. And here's the secret lesson: clutter isn't just physical, it's emotional. The longer you hold onto it, the heavier it becomes. By acting fast, Dorothy learned that letting go isn't nearly as painful as fearing it. Bringing it back to you. So here's the challenge. Look around your space right now. Find one item you know in your gut should go. Don't overthink it. Put it in a bag, in a box, in your car, whatever it takes. But don't let it cross another sunrise in your home. The 24-hour exit rule might sound tough, but Dorothy swore it was the single habit that finally made her clutter-free life stick. Because at the end of the day, freedom isn't found in boxes stacked for later. It's found in the courage to say, "Thanks for your service, now out you go." Closing, the lesson from Dorothy. When Dorothy finally finished her 48-hour marathon, she sat in the one armchair she'd decided to keep. Around her, the room was open, calm, and breathable. No walls of boxes. No piles of Sunday clutter. Just space. She laughed to herself and thought, so this is what freedom feels like, being able to walk into the kitchen without dodging a tower of cardboard. Her story leaves us with a powerful truth: the heaviest weight in our homes isn't always furniture or storage bins. Sometimes, it's the guilt, the memories, and the fear of letting go. Dorothy's 7 ruthless tricks weren't really ruthless at all, they were acts of kindness toward her future self. Think about it. How many times have you opened a closet full of clothes you'll never wear again? Or stepped into the garage only to find camping gear for trips you no longer take? How often have you put off decluttering because the mountain just felt too high? Dorothy showed us you don't need endless energy or months of effort. What you need is a system, a little courage, and maybe the humor to laugh at those dusty gadgets you swore you'd use. The reward? More time, more space, and more freedom to enjoy the people and experiences that actually matter. So let me ask you, if you had to choose just one item to apply the 24-hour exit rule to, what would it be? Write it down in the comments. Who knows, naming it might be the very first step to finally letting it go. Because in the end, the real question isn't how much can I keep? It's how much room do I have left to live?